How are we all doing today? I can pretend I'm in a good mood. I'm not. Both our football teams suck. They're 0-2. What else is new? New year. In the Jets' case, new coaching staff. In the Giants' case, new quarterback. Same freaking result. They're both abysmal. They're both not going to the playoffs. How are we all doing? We'll break down all aspects of how pathetic the Jets are, how the Giants found a new way to lose. Maybe we'll mix in some baseball later, and we will talk to the great Joe Beningo. He'll join us today at 5 o'clock. How are you, Tiki?
I'm actually encouraged.
What?
Because this is like the Jets last week, where they lost the game, but there wasn't a ton of problems other than the defense, but we'll get to that in a second. But they looked amazing. They just got outscored by a okay team, a really good team in Dallas Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb's a really good player. Dak Prescott is supposed to be, and he actually played really well when it mattered. The Giants just made too many penalties, and at the end of the day, their defense played really soft. But my biggest takeaway from this game, we'll get to all of this, by the way, and why the defense should not have been playing prevent defense, even though I honestly don't think it would have mattered. Because Brandon Aubrey can kick a 78-yard field goal if he wants to.
It's true.
The 64-yarder made it with ease and hit the net. It hit the net from 64 yards. That means it had at least 8, maybe 10 more yards on the end of it. But that is what it is. My biggest takeaway from this game is exactly what you and I have been talking about since the beginning of the season for the New York Giants. Jaxson Dart, even though he'll have his packages so they can play, quote, 11-on-11 football, is not going to start for this team as long as they are still in it. And by in it, I mean playing competitive football, winning games, doing all the things that look competent from a football standpoint. That's what Russell Wilson was brought here to do, throw for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns and put this team in position to win. The Jaxson Dart conversation, I don't want to hear anymore. I know people are so excited to see him, and if the Giants are halfway through the season and they've won 2 games, they're still going to be clamoring for it.
Sure.
But what would be the point? The point is to let him develop and take the reins when he's ready to take the reins. There is going to be no reason to force him, claw him into starting this year. I don't think it makes sense.
It eliminates the premature Dak start.
Yeah.
Jaxson start.
Right. No, you're right.
And that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
No,
because after last week, I was about to get convinced that maybe we need to have this conversation.
No, you weren't the only one. I think there were a lot of Giant fans who were convinced that if they had to predict what was going to happen on Sunday, they wouldn't have predicted what the hell happened, that's for sure. I don't think there's anyone who thought, it's going to be 40-37, it's going to go to overtime, it's going to be crazy, Russ is throwing moon balls, he's going to put up one of his great performances we've ever seen. I don't think anyone predicted that, but you're right, it does alleviate, at least for now, and that's the key phrase. For now, the talk about a premature Jaxson Dart start. But I do need to criticize Russell Wilson because I speak as a Jet fan and a Giant fan when I say this. As a football fan, I think I speak for everybody. I'm sick and tired of losing.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm sick and tired of it. And so when the Jets had an encouraging week last week, I didn't come in here in a good mood. All right? No, let's not recreate history. I was not happy. I didn't believe in moral victories. So I don't buy that crap. I'm going to treat the Jets and Giants the exact same way. I was not happy. And I lamented the ways the Jets found a way to lose. So let's lament the ways the Giants found a way to lose. And can I start with something?
Yeah, if you would like.
Your freaking quarterback.
What about him?
What about him?
Yeah,
he was unbelievable for 4 quarters.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic.
Like, if you're a fantasy owner, great. As a Giant fan, it was fun to watch. No doubt about it. But Russell Wilson is a guy who's been to 2 Super Bowls. Russell Wilson's a guy that's won a championship. Russell Wilson isn't a young quarterback learning on the job. He had 2 plays in that overtime that, I'm sorry, I almost think erase a lot of the good of what happened.
Well, I mean, it only because it cost them the game. You're right.
Well, it did cost them the game. And here's the other thing. We're all going to go crazy about the Giant defense. We're going to get there. Hold on a second. The Giant defense came on the field in overtime and got off the field.
Twice.
And they handed the football to Russell Wilson and said, go win the game. And twice, Russell Wilson did stupid things that cost them the game.
Yeah.
So I get, like, overall, if we're judging the 5 quarters of football, regulation and overtime, we're going to come down harder on the defense. Absolutely. We'll get there. But Russell Wilson, I thought, erased all his good by his dumbass backwards pass and one of the worst decisions you'll ever see, basically throwing a throw punt in the worst possible situation. I mean, he cost them the game.
Yeah, that was.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. And I went back and I watched, and I wanted to figure out why he pulled the ball. Like, he was in the middle of throwing it. Darius Slayton was on a stop route out there on the left, and Kaiir Elam, the cornerback for the Cowboys, was in position and about to break on it. But I think the ball gets there before Elam can break it up or intercept it. And I think Russell Wilson saw him and changed his mind. It was the only place he could go with the football, so it was either throw it to Darius Slayton or take a sack. And so he didn't want to throw it and potentially put the ball in harm's way. That's why he pulled it. The problem was Russ couldn't hold it when he pulled it. And while I know Bob Papa and Carl were saying that should be an incomplete pass.
No.
It was clear.
It was backwards, yeah.
It was clear that his body, as he was stopping the throw, his body turned left. And instead of throwing it parallel or, towards the line of scrimmage, he threw it backwards.
Yeah.
And
dude, it killed him. It was 2nd and 3, and it goes to 3rd and 17. And so, yeah, overall, if we're going to judge the 5 quarters of football and we're going to rate who played the best, obviously the defense deserves a lot of the blame, especially for the 19-second quick drive and the soft defense they had on Jake Ferguson. I get all that. But in overtime, with these newfound rules that we were prepared for when we talked about it a week and a half ago, the Giant defense essentially did their job.
Yeah.
They really did.
They did. They were fantastic.
And
they got 2 stops.
And Russell Wilson, for as great a numbers as he put up, he cost them the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's the learning how to win. And Russ should know how to do that because it wasn't anything that anybody else did. It was Russ not making the plays.
Well, then it
was Russ getting flustered in the pocket on the interception, the arm punt that you were talking about, because he felt some pressure in his face. I think that was the only pressure that Marcus Bowe gave up in the game, and he probably could have maneuvered away from it.
Yeah.
Instead of panicking and throwing a go route when Malik Neighbors was running to the corner. So it just it sucked to make that mistake in that moment because it cost them the game.
No doubt. And I'm so sick of hearing about how we got to learn how to win. Learn how to win?
Yeah.
I mean, this coaching staff's been here for a long time. Russell Wilson's been in the league for a decade. No more learning. Go do it.
I agree.
Go do it. And so, yes, it was better experience than game 1. It was a better, more competitive experience than week 1, and the offense actually looked like a real functioning offense.
Yeah, but
at the end of the day, they lost.
Here's what we can't confuse. Don't sit around and say that this team, it could have been 1-1, and who knows that we can make the playoffs. That's not the bar. That is not the bar that anybody had coming into this season. I think playing competent, consistent football was the bar, and they did that. I know what you're saying. I know you're talking about the postseason, but before you can take this massive leap and be a team that's competing for the postseason, you just got to learn how to play consistently.
We are going to,
and they did that yesterday. At least offensively.
We're going to disagree, even though you hear where I'm coming from.
Yes.
All right. We are 2 weeks into the freaking NFL season. It is the middle of September.
Yes.
I understand where the Giants have been. I understand where the Jets have been. I am so sick and tired. We all are of accepting on Sundays. Well, that was positive.
Okay, so get better. You get better. It's early enough in the season where 2 losses. While it will kill your playoff chances, because I think it's 14% of teams that start 0-2.
12%.
12% of teams that start 0-2.
I may have studied the numbers already.
But again, that wasn't the expectation for the Giants.
No, but the get better part.
I need the get better.
Okay.
And so after week 1, the only thing I wanted to see in week 2 was competency, be better. And they were better.
They were absolutely better, but here's my issue with the whole get better thing. And I remember saying this exactly a week ago when you and others tried to say, you can't be angry about the Jets. Every game is its own country. Every game is its own universe. What happens one week doesn't mean anything concerning the next week.
But the problem with the Jets, and this is why I think you're projecting your Jet ire also on my Giants, because you got worse. The Jets
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah,
the Jets got worse.
Yeah, no doubt.
As much as you want to laud, or I did, I think everybody did, wanted to laud Justin Fields for his week 1 performance and the decision-making and his accuracy and his just command of what Ingstrand wanted him to do, it was the 180-degree opposite.
1,000%.
He was lost from jump.
From the beginning when he missed an open Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson he missed. Next drive was one play because he fumbled. I mean, that's Joey Bosa, right?
Yes.
Yeah, give Joey Bosa credit for the track down because he tracked him from a long way.
He was also unbelievable in this game.
He was ridiculous. He was everywhere. But you could feel that Justin Fields wasn't ready.
Yeah.
He wasn't the same player that he was a week ago, and that's discouraging.
Well, it's discouraging because they went backwards, but my overall point is just because you do something encouraging one week doesn't mean anything about the next week. And that's my only point. Yes, the Giants went forward in terms of their play, and the Jets went backwards. But the results are the results. They're both 0-2, and just because the Giants had a functioning offense for 4 out of 5 quarters doesn't mean that's going to continue next weekend. It doesn't mean anything. Look at the Jets. What does that mean?
You're selling the Giants short. That wasn't functioning. That was the most productive offense we've seen from the Giants in a decade.
Okay, and that was the most functioning, awesome Jet offense we saw in a decade, and how'd they follow it up?
Okay, so that's all that matters.
No, that's my point. You have to win these games. My point to the Jet fan last week and to the Giant fan this week is, yes, it was better. I cannot deny that, Tiki. There was improvement, 1,000%. They didn't win. And when you lose, they all count the same. I don't care how ugly it is. I don't care how pretty it is. And so, yes, it was entertaining, and yes, it was encouraging. The Giants are losers again, just like the Jets were losers in week 1, and I'm sorry. It's all going to continue. It's all going to continue, bro.
The easiest thing to do for a sports fan, from a fan base, from an organization, from a media standpoint, is to scream and yell and bitch and talk about how bad things are because you lost. And I think that myopically and in the moment, that's probably fine. But I'm not looking at the Giants like that. I'm looking at the bigger picture for the New York Giants. And I don't know why I'm doing it this year, why I'm looking at a constant improvement and growth. As bad as James Hudson was in that first drive where he had 4 penalties for 40 yards or 50 yards, whatever the heck the number was.
It was historic.
It was historically bad.
Yes.
You saw Daves on the sideline say, get Bo ready. Put Bo in. And Marcus Bo came into that game, and until the last offensive play of the game for the Giants, and that was the interception, you didn't mention his name.
No, it was great.
He was great. Part of it is because the Dallas just doesn't have a pass rush right now, but still, he played. You didn't worry about him. It was a substitution that felt like it was inevitable at some point, and it happened because James Hudson just blew the door off the hinges and said, "Come on, take my job, kid," and he stepped up with his opportunity. So I'm encouraged by that. I'd still love to see Andrew Thomas out there, and who the hell knows when he's playing, but I'm encouraged by Marcus Bo. I'm encouraged that Malik Neighbors had an enormous number of big plays.
It was great.
It was just over and over and over and over again. That Wan'Dale Robinson has a new bend in his game. It's not just run these little 5-yard sit downs and catch it and maybe get a first down. He's running seams through the middle of zones. And so, I looked at what the Giants produced offensively. Their run game was drastically different. You throw in the Dart package with the zone reads and the triple option that Cam Cataboo split all the way down to the 1-yard line on a 24-yard run. I look at it and say, hey, this feels functional. This feels like football in 2025. This doesn't feel like 1998 type of football that the Giants were trying to play a week ago. And to me, that's encouraging. Did it suck that they lost? Yes. But the Cowboys are a good team. I'm not going to sit here and say the Cowboys suck. Everybody wants to say that because they hate Dak or they sit the circumstances around Jerry Jones and how he mismanages or whatever you say manages that team. They're a good team. They constantly win double-digit games. And 3 years ago, Dak was a runner-up in the MVP. So, you lost on the road to a good team. It sucks. Should you have won? Absolutely. And we can dig into those little things. But from a starting standpoint, I look at this Giants team and say, I'm encouraged.
95% of everything you just said, I could have changed those words last week and used Jets.
Yes,
and what happened this week?
You're right.
That's my point, though. It doesn't matter week to week.
We're talking Giants. The Giants improved. Because it's the only thing that matters.
No, the only thing that matters is winning. That's where we disagree. It's the only thing that matters. It's winning. They didn't lose. They didn't win. They lost.
If you are the Chiefs, if you are the Eagles, if you are teams that started the season and their goal was playoffs and then deep into the postseason, I hear you. Winning is the only thing. But when you're teams like the Jets, who are completely starting anew with a lottery ticket at quarterback, if you're the Giants, who completely remained your offensive quarterback room, and you look, the cornerback room is new and different, the safety room is different. You brought in a new edge rusher. Like it's improvement. It's getting better each and every week to the point where you can win games. The Jets took a massive step backwards on both sides of the ball. The Giants, I think, took a huge step forward offensively, and that matters a lot.
They took a step forward. You think they're going to take a step forward next week? And the week after that?
I hope so.
Oh,
yes.
I hope so, too.
Yes.
But the league is a reminder that just because you play well and just because there's improvement doesn't mean it's going to lead to anything. You need to take advantage of the wins when they're there. Mm-hmm. This was a win right in front of them. And there's a lot of things we can criticize, and we will over the next 4.5 hours, from some of the decisions Brian Daboll made to the play calling of Shane Bowen to Russell Wilson's huge mistakes in overtime. Like, there's a lot of stuff that led to it. But there's only 17 of these.
Yes.
And when a win is right there for you, like the Giants had yesterday and like the Jets had 2 weeks ago, you better grab it. And you're right that there was improvement. I can't argue about that, just like I couldn't argue last week about the positives. But it doesn't mean anything if you don't build off of it. You know, if we're sitting here in January and the Giants went 3-14, save me from how impressive the game against Dallas looked. It doesn't matter. I heard this last year. Well, the games are close. They don't matter if they're close. They matter if you win. Mm-hmm. And the Giants didn't win yesterday, and the Jets didn't win yesterday. Now, the Jets were an all very different kind of awful. They sucked and were non-competitive. And Woody Johnson should write a letter to every single person that showed up at MetLife Stadium yesterday and give them a refund.
Was it full?
Was it full? Yeah, of Bills fans. But it was embarrassing. It was, and I got this same text message from so many people I know. My dad texted it to me. My buddy AJ texted it to me. Beningo texted it to me. You know what they all said? Same old Jets.
Same old Jets.
And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of saying it. I'm sick of thinking of it. But worst of all, I'm sick of watching it because it truly was the same old Jets. So it came out very differently for both teams. The Giants were fun. They were exciting, and they improved. They lost. The Jets went backwards. Justin Fields was benchable. And, well, a concussion may keep him benched for week 3. More on that later. It was awful. And we'll hear from you. Well, maybe some Giant and Jet fans can spin this positively. And we'd love to hear it. 888-808-1019.